Welcome to the M Word's new series, Laura Meets. In the first episode, we're going to be talking to psychotherapist and author Stella O'Malley. So many of our children are developing screen dependencies. We just can't seem to get them off them when they get their hands on them. This is obviously going to have an effect on the next generation.
I think it's already had an impact. I think it has an impact on us. I think we know we're using our screens too much. And I think the kids know that their parents are using the screens too much, and the kids. We all know we're creating a culture of dependency on screens. It's interesting the way, an awful lot of quite high-tech executives in Silicon Valley are parenting in a very low-tech way. And an awful lot of the schools in Silicon Valley are very low-tech. And they're the cutting edge. They're the ones who are ahead of us. And it's amazing that they see the damage that screens do.
Saw Mark Zuckerberg come out when he had a child recently saying, I just like the concept, walks in the park, and you're going, you're the one that got us all into this mess in the first place. Like, seriously, I couldn't believe
when Steve Jobs was asked, what do your kids think of the new whatever iPhone? And he said they haven't seen it. Yeah. We limit screen time with our children.
Do you now?
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's remarkable though, because it is obviously, it's one of those things, if you give a little and then more is wanted, and it's where do you stop? And then people are finding their children are in worse form sometimes after watching
You
stuff.
and I both know when you've been on your screens too much, you're jittery. And when the parents take the screens away, the kids are jittery and they're aggressive with their jittery, and it leads to an awful lot of fights as well. I'm not saying this is easy. I'm as addicted to my phone as most people, but it's definitely an issue. We can't pretend, this is the new way, we're going to be walking around like this. It's not healthy.
Obviously, there's a huge epidemic of overweight children and obese children in this country. How big a role is diet playing in everything these days?
It's like everything. Food has been sold to us. Even in the chemist you go and there's crisps and chocolate in the chemist. It's everywhere. When I went to the local shopping centre, I just couldn't believe every 10 seconds the kids were being sold to with some rubbish, junk rubbish, and they obviously plead with Mammy, and then in the end you give them something because you've said no 82 times. So on the 83rd time you say yeah. But it's a huge issue. They are the big issues, screens and diet. They are huge issues that really everything else we've kind of got sorted. Their education is amazing, their safety is amazing. But there are a few things that are impacting mental health, and obesity is a huge one, overweight, and also screens. That's where we are now. These are the kind of real dangers as such for Irish kids.
But they go to a party, you're only allowed to have 2 packs. How do you even control, obviously in your own house, that's fine, but it's really difficult to try and do something about.
More if you can get buy-in, and you do meet kids who do have buy-in, that they realise it's just bad for you. It doesn't make you feel good, and it's not, the more, I know like a 4-year-old will say, yeah, right, so what?
Not for me.
By the time they're maybe 8, they should be getting some sort of ownership over what they're taking in and some sort of feeling of responsibility, because bad food is very bad for you. Too much screens make you cranky. And I've often said that to my own kids. I hope parents would appreciate or certainly benefit from it, where I say that it makes you cranky. It makes you narky. You know what I mean? I'm not letting you on the screens because you'll be too cranky.
And it works.
It does, because they can see it.
That.
They can see it, yeah.
I'm going to give that a go.
Yeah.
We all know that children just want to be loved, and I suppose helicopter parents, and we all pretend we're not helicopter parents in any way, shape or form, but I think we all have a little bit of it. I suppose there'd be an argument to say they just want to show love to their child and prove to their child how much they love them.
They are, and they're right, because all children do want is love, and it's a gorgeous mentality. However, we have been shaped and bent out of shape by basically media and by cultural agenda to make us more worried about things that we shouldn't be worried about. We need not be worried about stranger child abduction. It's such a random, incredibly unlikely event that we shouldn't be worried about it, yet a lot of people are worried. The reason why they're worried is it's been absolutely sensationalised by the media. It's not a true risk. If you really want to be worried about your children, don't put your children in a car, because that's by far the most dangerous thing for a child to be a car passenger. So it's not really relevant to be worried about outlandish fears. It's much more helpful for the child to cultivate their happiness and give them more freedom, because it's a very safe world we're living in.